All right, well, good morning, everybody. My name's Tim Schaefer. I'm the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission. Excited to be here at French Azilum, and it's a unique historic site and is about as good as it gets when it comes to a view of the Susquehanna River. Today we're here for a couple reasons. We're going to be celebrating a huge win for Bradford County thanks to our boating facility grant program and DCNR's conservation C2P2 grant program. You'll hear about both of those. Also want to celebrate the announcement and completion of Pennsylvania's new fishing and boating access strategy. It was a collaborative effort between the two agencies, DCNR and Fish and Boat. And what this will be a roadmap for future fishing and boating access sites all across the Commonwealth. Before we begin, I want to just recognize a couple of familiar faces here. Dr. Claire Jantz is DCNR's Deputy Secretary of Conservation and Technical Services. Brooks Eldridge Martin, volunteer coordinator here at French Azilum, and also, I got to say this up front, lives 2 doors down from a friend of mine's lake house at Lake Wasauking, a stone's throw from here. So I told Brooks I'm used to seeing him, in a pair of shorts with a stringer of pickerel that we're going to cook for dinner that night. But great to see Brooks here. And then Mark Sweppenheiser, who's the director of our Bureau of Boating. Mark was a longtime waterways conservation officer for us. Also have State Representative Tina Pickett from right here in Bradford County, serves the 110th District, and Janine Golish on behalf of Senator Jean Yaw. Really appreciate both Senator Yaw and Representative Pickett's support for this project. So to just give you a start with a little bit of an overview of fish and boats involved with this project. From a boating perspective, this is an unbelievable upgrade for this site. People have been using this as an area to launch kayaks and canoes for years, but there was just a primitive access point, and you can see it right down where that split rail fence is. You had to drag your boat through the grass, enter some really high grass, go down over an embankment, and the parking was literally just wherever you could fit your car, and just sort of a free-for-all of looking for parking spots in the grass. The new facility includes a concrete boat launch to provide true public access to unpowered boats for people to access the Susquehanna. And what's also notable that this is part of the North Branch River Trail. Pennsylvania is blessed with a network of water trails. If you're not familiar with the term water trail, think hiking trail on the water. These are their maps and established access sites where people can get onto and off of the water. And this is going to make for a dynamite spot to integrate with either whether it's a long, multi-day trip or even just a hop, skip, and a jump down to the next access point. Our agency provided a grant to Wysox Township where they're going to improve their launch, and I know DCNR has also made an investment there. New parking area also includes ADA accommodations. One of the things that's in the fishing and boating access strategy is an emphasis on accessible locations. We want to make sure that everybody who wants to use these sites can. So how do we get here? Christine DeTore and I were talking. We had a tour a couple years ago where we hit multiple sites in northeastern PA, including here at French Azilum. And out of those site visits came a grant application that Brooks led the charge on from French Azilum to our agency. We awarded them $210,000 from our boating facility grant program. I'll give a preview that we're about to put out another call for proposals for that boating facility grant program. And we're going to have an emphasis on water trails this time. So anybody listening to this, if you have access sites that are on or along water trails, either new ones that you want to put in or ones that need to get renovated, let us know. That's going to be a focus of the grant program. That boating facility grant program, we primarily fund it with motor boat fuel tax revenues. So our agency does not receive general fund revenue. We're a self-funded agency. Fishing licenses, boat registrations, federal excise taxes on the fishing equipment, and then motor boat fuel tax revenue. And we think it's only fair and appropriate and ethical, frankly, to reinvest those dollars for the people that pay them. So one of the things we do with it is pump those motor boat fuel dollars back into boating access across Pennsylvania. So that boating facility grant program, it's open to anyone who agrees to keep their property open for 25 years. So typically it's a municipality, but it may be a nonprofit like French Azilum, just as long as you have that public access amenity. It's probably going to blow over again, so we'll just leave it there. I want to make sure I hit all the points about boating facility grant program. I did. So with that, just really want to thank and congratulate French Azilum for having the vision to do this. It was not a short process, not an easy process. Jason Wood was the designer here. Jason has worked on a number of other projects and does a fantastic job. But really, our thanks to the leaders in Bradford County for having the vision to put this awesome project together, and we're happy to do our little part to help fund it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to a couple other folks for some remarks, and I'll start with Dr. Claire Jantz from DCNR. Again, Claire is the Deputy Secretary of Conservation and Technical Services at DCNR. The relationship between the two agencies really could not be stronger. Cindy Dunn, one time she referred to me as being like a brother. Well, she's like a sister to me. I pinch myself that we get to do these jobs together, and we are so strategic between the two agencies about how we can think of what role we can have for each of the projects. And what you'll typically see when we match the dollars, like we're on the fishing and boating side. So if that's a part that we could take care of, if there are things that are more park-like amenities, well, then in comes DCNR to fund it. So just dynamite relationship with DCNR, and welcome Claire up to make a few remarks. And I guess we'll fix this then. Yeah.
Yeah, let's put this on the phone. It depends on which way the wind's blowing. Yeah.
I'll leave the standards back up. Yeah. Is that a little too goofy with me holding this like a revolutionary war? Like,
no, you're like a...
Like holding a musket, like, at a revolutionary war thing.
All right, thanks everybody. And I'll just say greetings from Cindy Dunn. She is on vacation this week, unfortunately. Otherwise, she would be here because she loves the water stuff. So I'm really glad that she's on vacation because I can be here today on the North Branch of the Susquehanna. As Tim said, this is River Trail and is managed by our Endless Mountain Heritage region. We're also adjacent to the Pennsylvania Route 6 heritage area, and so this is really also a time for a chance to let our heritage areas shine. I want to recognize also our DCNR staff who are here. Christine DeTour is the regional advisor. Where is Lorne? Possinger is also here. He works in this region. Mark Pallarino is in charge of our partnerships division. And Mary Hunt is our new river program specialist. So she is also a good person to get to know in the turquoise t-shirt over there. So we're really excited about creating these opportunities. And as Tim said, it represents many years of work and partnerships. Tim mentioned the great partnership that DCNR and Fish and Boat have on these types of projects, and that partnership is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of all of the other volunteers and local officials, state officials that help to make this happen. So this is a time to really recognize the work that you all have done to bring this project to where it is today. We invested a little over $200,000 in this project with matching funds from the Fish and Boats Commission Boating Facility Grants Program. We've got the concrete boat launch, ADA parking, accessible walkway, a comfort station. One of the things in most demand in outdoor rec facilities is restrooms. So we've got a restroom, which is great. And all of these things together make this a safe, a durable, welcoming, and accessible river access point for folks who want to get on this river trail. DCNR is really committed to this type of accessibility. We know that Pennsylvanians value outdoor recreation. We recently completed our state comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, where we found that 9 out of 10 Pennsylvanians take part in outdoor recreation, and 82% of respondents to those surveys said that it's critical for their mental health. And I'm sure all of us who have been out in a kayak or a canoe floating in a lake or in a river can appreciate the positive mental health benefits of stress reduction, exercise, and all that great stuff that comes with it. Pennsylvania is blessed with 85,000 miles of rivers and streams and 4,000 lakes. But again, that only really matters if we can get access to them. So points like this, our river trails, and other ways to promote water-based recreation are really important. In a few minutes, we're going to be talking more about the new statewide fishing and boating access strategy. And that's really a toolkit that helps state agencies and our partners identify where there's gaps, where we need to focus, where we need to improve existing sites. And it helps to, again, support all of us in joint efforts to make our rivers, streams, and lakes more accessible. I don't want to, this is obviously great for the local communities. It does help to build local community economies, but it also contributes to our over $20 billion statewide outdoor recreation industry. Almost $1 billion of that is related to fishing and boating. So these are not just small community investments, it's also investments in the broader statewide economies, and helps to make Pennsylvania a great place to visit and live. In addition to all of those economic benefits, access helps to build stewardship. So when people get out on the river to fish or paddle, they'll return year after year, and you develop a personal connection to these places. You know, even if you're coming from New York or New Jersey or, Harrisburg, from other parts within the state, you make a connection to these places. You make memories in these places, and then, the next step is to become stewards of those places. So that stewardship is critical to our agency's mission. And again, I just want to say the role of partnerships in making these projects happen is really important. I spoke about our heritage area involvement. That's really a network, a partnership of partnerships, network of networks. We have DCNR, we have Fish and Boat, water trail managers, local officials, nonprofits, community leaders. All of those folks each bring essential expertise and resources to making a site like this happen. So as we celebrate here in French Azilum, this is really an example of what we can do, what is possible to do. This once very primitive access site is now much improved, and it will be a durable community asset that will serve this region for many years into the future. So I want to say congratulations to everyone who was involved in this. We look forward to continuing this work with our partners to expand statewide water access, enhance our recreation, and foster stewardship across Pennsylvania. And I think next we're going to be talking about the statewide access plan. I'll just say that DCNR staff were pretty heavily engaged in that. Yesterday, there was an email out to our staff to kind of announce that we've completed this project, we contributed to it, and we never want to hear strategic access again. So it was a lift, but well worth it.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tim.
Claire. So that fishing and boating access strategy that's live on both agencies. See, there we go. Live on both agencies' website could also be called the Mark Report, because the authors included Mark Pallarino, Mark Sweppenheiser, Mark McLaughlin, and Mark Morrison. So that's not a typo. If you see all these marks, I guess it's just a sign of the demographics of what we were naming babies at that time. So with that, I want to introduce Brooks Eldridge Martin. Again, Brooks is the volunteer coordinator here at French Azilum, and he really was the spark and the glue that made this thing happen. So Brooks.
Thank you so much.
was quite pleased when I'm old. I need notes. I was preparing the remarks, and just over 3 years ago, August 11th, there was a meeting down at the river access location, and Representative Pickett was there. Kane Chamberlain of EMHR had helped to organize it. Tim was here. Fish and Boat had others here. I can't remember exactly who was here. Christine DeTour was here, and that other appropriate folks were here, 11 of us, I think. And Bill Blevins, our French Asylum Board President, and I were here, and it feels somewhat like a reunion. Starting in 2023, I'm going to focus on the volunteers because French Asylum's in pretty good shape, and it wouldn't be if we didn't have the volunteers. So starting in 2023, the French Asylum Board and volunteers gave an average of 1,000 hours a year to prepare, maintaining and stabilizing the historic site. This year, 2026, we are going to go over 2,000 hours of efforts from coming to meetings like today to repairing lawns, mowing all the acreage. It's a big effort, and there's a bunch of willing people doing it. So the first effort we did, there was what's now the maintenance shop is a barn, and there was a tractor trailer with 80 tires in it. There was a mobile home with a woodchuck living in it, and the man was a collector of stuff, and it was a pretty big mess. We removed tons of trash and stabilized the maintenance shop. Job one. We removed, repaired, painted, and replaced every window in all of the outbuildings, caulked, replaced glass, whatever was required, and put them back. We painted and sealed all the outbuildings. We made this pavilion more enclosed. This is a mild wind, and sometimes you want some protection from the wind, but we were also doing a festival that hung artwork in there, so we made those repairs. We cleaned, organized, electrified, and added a concrete floor to the historic wagon house. We cleaned, organized, electrified, and converted the scale house into an artisan marketplace. We have very little income, and so that was a step thinking, well, maybe if we start selling things, we'll make some money. We reestablished the labyrinth. It was installed in 2000 as the state's Millennium Project, and I'll give Rocky a shout out, figured out how to keep it weed free, and it's now a meditative place. We added new signage to the site. We expanded the picket fence and installed 3 new gates around the Laporte house. Volunteers are wonderful, but they cannot do everything. And as all of you have heard, French Asylum doesn't have a lot of money. So now I'm going to give some credit to the people who helped us with money. Kane is here. EMHR, the Heritage Region, has helped fund professionals to paint our main museum, the Laporte House, and air condition the Laporte House to begin to keep these wonderful old things a little bit healthier. Bradford County Tourism has provided us with a yearly encouragement to promote this space. And this is isolated, but that may be one of our assets, and we're working on that. We have a good board, good volunteers. Keep your eyes peeled. But down to this project, which we're celebrating today, I have to thank Fish and Boat, DCNR, and their grants didn't quite match up, and so the Bradford County Commissioners stepped in and topped it off. And we also, Erie Lumber is the local building supply business, and they've been a steady supporter, and they donated, I don't think that picnic table is one of them. That was here with the pavilion, but 2 down there and 6 others. We have 8 prepared picnic tables for the picnic sites and the campsites, so we're working on that. We've heard about the fixes, the restroom, crucial. If you really got to go, what an opportunity. But certainly the launch is the most visible improvement. It used to be like this. Now it's gradual, but not to be ignored is if you go to Bradford County Planning, they have overviews of the properties, and you can see that there's a big drainage area down there and a big drainage area further down. And these were problems because people walking or trying to drive, the washouts would cause problems. So this project also improved those spaces so that you can literally do a loop around and a vehicle isn't going to get stuck in one of those depressions. And a special thanks to Jason Wood of Woodland Associates and Stafursky Paving Company, who completed the project. And during the project, the volunteers mowed, they kept the buildings up, they ran programs which will end in late September. But again, I can't thank enough the volunteers. So as we open the launch, I saw some scissors and a ribbon. I assume that's going to happen, a ribbon cutting. Volunteers are going to step up again and maintain and keep that new asset to the area, to the water trails and to French Azilum, keep it as well as we can. We'll also do the acreage, the lawns, the stone walls, the buildings, and we hope people will come and enjoy. So how about a round of applause for that big team, the funders and French Azilum volunteers.
Thanks, Brooks. So now you've heard about French Azilum, Mark Sweppenheiser, our director of our Bureau of Boating, is going to come talk to you about the new fishing and boating access strategy, and hopefully it will spur some thoughts and some ideas among the listeners for what might be possible at your own French Azilum. Oh, got it. Okay. Representative Pickett. Sorry, I went out of order here. Well, happy to welcome Representative Tina Pickett, good friend of mine in the agency, to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Tim. Actually, I'm pretty proud to be a friend with the agency because of the fabulous work that you do and the coordination with the other agencies that are here today, and this is fabulous proof of that. Yes, Brooks, that was a great takedown on the history that's been happening here for the last several years on these kinds of projects, and I can tell you that I was here when we saw the intended launch last time, and we all went, really? This is not working. This will not work. I mean, you literally had to be kind of a little bit of a mountain goat to go up and down that entry and exit from here, and you probably weren't going to do it, is the answer. So everybody kind of said that day, yep, we have to really do something, and the folks that are able to provide some kind of funding, planning, and assistance in bringing it together jumped on board. And it's a great, as Tim said, it's a great, fabulous use of the dollars that his membership and the taxpayers of Pennsylvania are able to bring together to do things like this. I operated a small hospitality business in the area for many years, 30-some years. I know what it means to those businesses like mine to bring people into the area, have them stay for a little bit of a while, and see the rest of the area and spend some of their tourism dollars, if you will, in other spots. So we depended a lot on these kinds of sites that would be able to do that. And now French Azilum is going to be able to do even more of that in a whole different manner. I predict it's going to become extremely popular as an access from the river. And this setting, if you all could see the setting that we're in today, it's really overwhelmingly beautiful. It is Pennsylvania to the utmost. And it has everything to offer here, not only the river, but the history and the beautiful grounds, and it's just fabulous here. It really, really is. And we're anxious to have more people know that and be able to enjoy it. So I just want to congratulate everybody who put their talent and their time together to make this happen. I think it's just a fabulous outcome for something that everybody could see was so sorely needed, but also such a fabulous opportunity in that neighborhood of a little more than a year ago, as Brooks reminded us. So thanks again to everybody. I'm just more than honored and delighted to be here today and to say this is really, really well done. And we do think the Fish and Boat and the other agencies that are involved here have some other projects in Bradford County. I mean, we have some really great outdoor recreational projects coming together in this county, or in my district, Wyoming County too. So yeah, we all know what they mean. We all know not only to us locally what they mean, and we could enjoy them, but how they bring other people in to enjoy them also, and to help our economic base. So again, just thank you all for everything you've done to make this happen.
On behalf of Senator Yaw, I am happy to be here to recognize what has gone into this project. I was not here 3 years ago, but I know how long it takes for a project like this to occur. I was just thinking, like, if you could add up those volunteer hours, how much of a match that money would be. Nothing happens without the volunteers, and in our country we're having a shortage of volunteers, so it's just excellent to hear about the volunteerism here. And I'm just going to put a plug in because I worked on the America 250 program. There's a big event happening next weekend, which I hope to be at, and there's just so much more to French Azilum than just a boat launch, although that's why we're here today. I just appreciate what they do and how they do it on a shoestring budget, and hopefully this will also bring more money back into them. So I appreciate being here. Thank you on behalf of Senator Yaw.
And I think, and if Senator Yaw were here, I'm sure he would mention his role in Chesapeake Bay Commission. He's currently the chair of the Chesapeake Bay Commission, and one of the goals, there is cleaning up the bay. But as Senator Yaw says so often, the reason that we're making progress on the bay is because of locally relevant projects in Pennsylvania. If we focus on the water quality in Bradford County, if we focus on the water quality in all those upstream counties, it's going to make the bay better. We're seeing deliverables on that. One of the parts, one of the goals of the whole Chesapeake Bay Agreement is improved public access in the watershed. And you're looking at one of those. So again, thank you to Representative Pickett, Senator Yaw for their unyielding support for this. And it's making this site relevant, more relevant than it's ever been before. So with that, I guess I'll get back on track here. Mark Sweppenheiser is the director of our Bureau of Boating. Mark's going to tell you a little bit about the fishing and boating access strategy, and again, how other municipalities and groups could use it as a tool. Brooks, I wouldn't want to see what a really windy day looks like.
Good morning, everyone. This is probably the best part of my job, is getting out and seeing a finished product. But today we're going to talk about what goes behind the scenes. We talked about the volunteers, the partnerships, the funding, the agencies, the planning, county commissions, city planners, township planners, conservation districts. This is what this strategy, this access strategy is for. Ultimately, getting the projects in place to get them on the water like we have here today. So this beautiful project at French Azilum is not possible without an incredible amount of partnership, planning, and organization. Today, the Fish and Boat Commission and DCNR are pleased to announce a collaborative statewide fishing and boating access strategy that is meant to make this process easier. So we're trying to get this in the hands of people so that when they come to us, they have a plan, a location, a design to optimize where we can put these fishing and boating accesses on our rivers and make these water trails the best they can be, to make Pennsylvania a place, a destination, an economic resource for our rural communities. This will benefit our partners, heritage areas, watersheds, 501(c)(3)s, local groups. And if you want to learn more about this, go to our Fishing and Boating Access Strategy website on fishandboat.com. Fishing and boating is extremely popular. Recreational activity in Pennsylvania increasing. A diverse population is looking for nearby access to the waterways. And that's probably the thing that I always hear when people are trying to get out on the water. Where can I go? How far is it? If they don't have access, how are they going to get to that resource? How are they going to go out and enjoy it? Many residents, visitors encounter barriers from physical and financial challenges to social and psychological obstacles that may prevent them from using and benefiting from an existing access. So how do we make these accesses more welcoming? Can we get better roads to them? Can we have diversity of signs in different languages so people understand where they're at? Can we put signs at the access themselves so when you're coming down the river, you know where you're at? You don't lose yourself on the map. This strategy recognizes those obstacles and offers solutions for overcoming them. By optimizing the placement for new public access and boating projects, prioritization areas, limiting access that limit access, building local support with access projects, and focusing on existing water trails, we can work alongside our partners to maximize the usability of our waterways to meet the interests of these communities. Public fishing and boating access projects that may benefit from this strategy includes construction of boat launches, trails for walk-in fishing access along waterways, implementation of ADA accessible features such as parking areas, walking paths, and adaptive amenities including launching docks. Both the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission and DCNR offer programs compatible with this strategy to assist communities in developing a new and enhanced public fishing boating access throughout the state. In the coming weeks, we're going to announce our boating facility grant program, and that is going to accept applications from these groups. And I encourage every one of the groups who is thinking about putting an access in their county, their community, their city, their township, to look at that access strategy and see what they're overlooking, see what coalitions they can build, what other funding opportunities are there and available to them. So that fishing and boating access strategy is that one-stop source for anybody who's thinking about going out there and getting this project started. And I'm sure any one of the volunteers here today never would have thought how much effort, time, and resource had to go into getting these accesses right here today for us to sit and enjoy. All that time and effort from the get-go sounds like an easy project, but a lot of partnerships have to go into it and a lot of effort and funding. Bottom line, boaters and anglers in Pennsylvania have told us that they want more places to access water, find peace and quiet, disconnect from technology, and connect to nature. Through this strategy, we plan to meet those desires head-on and keep incredible projects like this one here at French Azilum coming on all waters across the Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
All right, well, I want to end with two PSAs. One, we heard a couple times about the importance of restrooms, right? People want a place to go to the bathroom. If you are going to be using the outhouse at French Azilum, please take care of it. We get the question all the time, why don't you have, a porta potty at this access or that access? It's typically because the vendor won't put them there because people trash them. So please don't put an M80 in it and blow the thing up. Graffiti, these seems like common sense things, but unfortunately we see a lot of times that there is vandalism to these porta potties, and then the companies simply won't bring them. So don't ruin it for the next paddler coming down the waterway. And then I'm going to end with the most important piece. If you've heard me speak before, you know what I'm going to say. I don't care if you remember anything else that you heard today, wear your life jacket. In Pennsylvania, about 80% of the boating fatalities every year are a result of people not wearing their life jackets. Please wear your life jacket. They're more comfortable than ever. They're more affordable than ever. They're required all year long to have them on the boats for everybody who's on the boat. They need to fit. They need to be operable. Mark, again, former waterways conservation officer. If an officer comes to your boat and you've got an ill-fitting life jacket, that's not going to count. If the buckles are broken, that's not going to count. They need to fit the people that are on the boat and also be operable. You have to. Kids under 12 have to wear them all year long. We have a mandatory life jacket requirement in the cold weather months on canoes, kayaks, and boats under 16 feet. Please, if you're going to be kayaking on the North Branch Susquehanna Water Trail, wear your life jacket, come home safely to your family.
You'll be good? You can bring that out in front of the podium too. Yep. There you go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And handicap space over there.
Oh, there's a handicap park?
Yeah.
If you go online, or even just give us a call.
Either by accident or know of us here in the area. We are so very, very grateful.
Yep.
And then lots of love. Yep.
Oh! Most of our servers are sure already.
And when I walked down, there was a guy, a fisherman, right in front of the dock. Fishing, yeah, just right now.